the product that you sell determines the strategy for going to market. So I was spending some time with my operations manager yesterday, Mr. Kyle, who we call Captain Wonderful because he's amazing. We were talking about the different strategies, which kind of like wind back from our business and look at what if we had to start again, how would we rebuild it? That kind of question, which is great for focusing, by the way. So we came up with a couple of scenarios. What if we stumbled upon a shipping container full of insulated drink bottles that we got for free and we could sell them 100,000 of them and make a money? What would we do? So we said, well, we put up a landing page, buy button on the bottom of the page. We'd have to sell it and distribute it. So we're like, well, probably Amazon's the easiest. Get it to fulfill by Amazon. Amazon takes care of the buy button. All you then got to do is run some traffic to that. How would you do that? Well, with a product like a drink bottle, you know, it's an impulse purchase, $10. Put up a Facebook ad, you know, not too hard. There's millions, billions of people who are on Facebook. People need a drink bottle, easy. But the challenge then becomes when you look at a slightly more complicated sale. So we replaced that drink bottle model with a coaching program. So again, now the scenario that we ran for ourselves was, what if we licensed a sale coaching program from John Maxwell, the leadership coach? And this is just an example, John, by the way, that we had 1,000 copies of a $2,500 program that we could sell and keep all the profit. And we're like, wow, that'd be a cool opportunity. Well, okay, how would you sell a coaching program to leadership? Well, first you need to identify who the client is, right? So with a drink bottle, it's easy. So literally anybody who's out for a walk or has a pulse. But in a leadership training course, it's slightly different. We need to be able to say, okay, who would respond to that? So we're thinking, okay, we need to find that market segment. It would be middle tier managers that want to level up or want to be professional people who already knew the value of training, etc. So straight away, you start to think of a slightly more refined strategy to find those people, right? So the product you have determines the strategy you need to go to sale. And again, in that environment, we'd be using some tools to find those ideal clients, and then we'd be connecting with them on LinkedIn, probably, or engaging them in a content education strategy. So it'd be reaching out to people who were potentially our ideal client and finding those ones who had a spark of need, bringing them into a trusted environment where we're showing them skills and development, and then build trust, qualify, get people on a call. So it's like a much longer sales process, but again, it can be all automated with the right tools. So the product you sell will determine the strategy that you need to use. And it's a great thing to think, how does this buyer come into my world? And then I think probably the question to ask that will solve a lot of sleepless nights is, how do I automate that process? How do I make sure that I have a consistent method of bringing those qualified leads into my business? Because without that, I tell you what, you're up for a lot more sleepless nights. So once you determine your product, the buying cycle, your ideal client, then you need to put it on autopilot. You need something running in the background that doesn't depend on you, so that every single day you've got potential opportunities coming through that sales pipeline. And turning that on will result in a much richer sales pipeline 30, 60, 90 days from now. And I tell you what, that time's going to pass anyway. So whatever you do today needs to be actively filling that sales pipeline in an ongoing basis. So think about the product, strategy, the buyer, and then how to automate that process. Beautiful day for a walk. See you later.